anything could happen in baseball. Let's get into it. What is going on, everyone? I hope you're all having a great weekend and enjoying the last couple of days of 2023. Hopefully, everybody's ready for 2024. I know I am. I'm ready for a new year, new beginnings, new goals. I'm feeling pretty optimistic, and I hope you are too. All right. So before I begin if you can, if this is your first time on this channel, please subscribe to this channel. Please like this video. Share this out, drop your comments, tell me what you think. All right. Currently, I am at 109 subscribers, and I'm greatly appreciative of all of you who have subscribed so far. And now I am on the road to 200 subscribers. So I would love to get there as soon as possible. And, I want to grow this. I want to get to that 1,000 mark as quickly as possible. And that way I can continue putting out stuff like this, like videos like this, putting out shorts and interacting with all of you and getting news out to you and just giving you my thoughts and opinions. All right. So I want to talk about this a little bit because I was just thinking about this the last few days, and I was on a few of the open panels with a couple of the open panels with Hector from Morning Brew Sports, who always does a good job over there. And I go on co-host and go on open panels with Jason from 161 River Ave, Ford Train Express with Mazza, Uncle Tats from the Pinstripe Chronicles podcast. And if you haven't subscribed to their channels, please do, because they put out some great content as well. All right. So I want to talk about big names and the teams that they sign with, right? So there's been a lot of chatter, right? Particularly amongst us Yankees fans, right? That, if it's been a successful offseason or not. And there's mixed feedback on that, right? So some fans, Yankees fans, feel that it hasn't been a successful offseason yet, just because they, missed out on Yamamoto and they still need to acquire pitching. Okay. There's other Yankees fans that say that they had a successful offseason so far because they, traded for Juan Soto and Trent Grisham. They traded for Alex Verdugo. They traded for, some pitching with a couple of teams like the Dodgers and the Guardians. And they're not, the pitchers, though, for example, they're not the big names, but I feel like with some of those guys that they acquired, they can contribute to the team. So where am I going with this? So here's my thing, and you all tell me if you agree or disagree with this, but I feel as though any team that signs big names to their roster, right, to their organization, doesn't necessarily guarantee a championship. Okay. You have to have a mix of like some big names and like the smaller names, because everybody on the roster in one way or another, you need them to contribute something to the team, right? You can't have everybody in the lineup be power hitters and hit home runs all day. Not everybody in the lineup is going to be necessarily contact hitters. There needs to be that fine balance, right? And on the pitching side, not everybody is going to necessarily be like a Garrett Cole or like a Roger Clemens or a Pedro Martinez. There's going to be that one big star that's going to be your number one starter, and then your number two guy is going to be your backup, right? He should be a solid number two, and then your 3, 4s, and 5s. They're not going to necessarily be those big names, but they will contribute to the team. They will eat. You want them to eat up those innings, and then your bullpen. yeah, you have your one closer, and then you have I'll say about 4 or 5 solid guys that out of the bullpen that can pitch lights out. And then there's a couple of guys that you can put them in the game as long as there's like some sort of comfortable lead. Again, you want to have like a balance on a team, right? So let's look at this past season as an example, right? The Atlanta Braves had the best record in baseball, right? So I don't know about you. I thought they were going all the way. Just based on their roster, they had the best record in baseball. And if you look at their team, they had a stacked team. But guess what? It didn't happen. They ended up getting eliminated by the Phillies. So then the Phillies played the Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks were the team that made it to the World Series. Did any of us think that the Diamondbacks were going to be the team to make it to the World Series? I didn't. Um, they surprised a lot of us, right? And then when you look at the American League side, I thought the Orioles were going to go to the World Series, right? I thought it was going to be a Braves Orioles World Series, but it wasn't. It ended up being Texas Rangers and the Arizona Diamondbacks, which again, two teams that I don't know about you, but two teams that I thought that weren't going to make it to the World Series. And then Texas Rangers ended up winning the whole freaking thing, right? And they weren't the best team in baseball. They had a great team, they showed that. And the Diamondbacks just showed that even though they didn't necessarily have big names on their team, like the Braves, they showed grit. They showed heart. And I've stated this before. The Diamondbacks kind of reminded me of the 2003 Florida Marlins, where they were just a young, scrappy team that was just hungry. Okay. So that's why, I titled this Nothing is Guaranteed, because teams can sign the biggest names. They could spend all the money, right? And get those guys on their roster, but it's not going to necessarily guarantee you a championship, right? Regular season, playoffs, they're two different worlds. It's just a different mentality. During the regular season, yeah, you could play well, you could have the best record in baseball, but let's see what happens when you get into the playoffs, because that's where things change. And some of these teams, if they had a little bit of a rough regular season, but still managed to get into the playoffs, but they ended on a hot streak, that hot streak could drive into the playoffs, and it could take them even further. In this case, the Diamondbacks and the Texas Rangers, two teams that I thought weren't going to make it to the World Series. I said there's no way, but a lot of us, we did underestimate them. Again, we're not saying that they were bad teams, but they weren't the Baltimore Orioles or the Atlanta Braves, who killed it this past season. Okay, so what I'm saying is, it just because you could sign, if you sign all the big names to your team, it's not going to guarantee you a championship. Just because you spend all this money on players, it's not going to guarantee you a championship. There needs to be that fine balance between big names and like the smaller names, and each player is going to contribute in a different way, and that's how you win a championship. And for me, it's like it never made sense to me to spend money on one big player, although there are certain exceptions, but where you can spend that money the smart way and get two or three good quality players, and you can spend the same amount of money. You gotta think smart, right? If you're trying to form a championship caliber team. So I wanted to kind of get that out there, and I wanted to get your guys' feedback and get your thoughts and opinions on this, because I was just thinking about this for the last few days, particularly with the Yankees, because there were some fans that feel that the Yankees should go after Josh Hader, and I'm one of those fans, along with some of the other content creators that I'm in the group chat with, that say, we don't want Josh Hader. It's not because I don't think he's a bad pitcher. I think he's great. He puts up great numbers. I just don't feel that he deserves to be overpaid like that. Number one. Number two, I don't feel like he's a good fit. And that's another important thing when you're trading for a player or signing for a player. Are they going to be a good fit? These are things to think about, right? So that's all I got for this. But you all tell me what you think. Drop your comments. Give me your thoughts. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Again, I love reading your guys' feedbacks. I do appreciate the comments that I get from some of you, and you all say something that I didn't even think, that I don't even think about, and I read that and I'm just like, okay, you know what? This makes total sense. Okay. The other thing I wanted to get out to all of you was that I'm doing a show tonight with Four Train Express. So Mazza from Four Train Express, and then Dayne Huber. If you're able to, I would love for all of you to tune in, because we are going to have former Yankee pitcher Joba Chamberlain on the show. So I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to talking to him. He seems like a really cool guy, and I would love to see all of you on there. So go to Four Train Express. Again, that's Mazza. Okay, subscribe to his channel. Tune into the live stream. It's going to take place 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in. If you do tune in, if you want to ask a question to Joba, ask your question. We'll make sure we get to that question. And again, we'd love to see all of you tonight. And that's all I got for now. So if you haven't yet, if this is your first time on this channel, please like this video. Please share my channel. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm at 109 subscribers. I literally started this channel at the beginning of the month, and I love seeing the growth so far. And now I'm on the road to 200. And if any news comes out, I will definitely let you know. And I'll see you all later.